Hello, and welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. You've arrived at a quiet moment, a space set aside for rest and calm. Whatever the day held for you, whatever thoughts may still be lingering, you can let them gently fade into the background now. For the next little while, this time is simply yours. Before we begin, feel free to share in the comments where you're listening from tonight, and what time it is for you. It's always wonderful to see how people from so many places come together here for a peaceful night's rest. And if you'd like to support the channel, a like or subscription is always appreciated. Now, take a moment to settle in. Find a comfortable position. Allow your breathing to slow, and give yourself permission to unwind. There's no rush, no expectations, just a gentle story, and the soft rhythm of a rainy night, inviting you to drift into rest. Let's begin. You find yourself walking along a forest path as evening settles in around you. The rain has been falling for some time now, soft, steady, gentle rain that makes no harsh sounds, only the quietest of whispers as it touches the leaves above you, as it finds the ferns along the path, as it meets the earth beneath your feet. This is not a storm. This is not weather that troubles or disturbs. This is the kind of rain that makes the world feel softer, quieter, more at peace. The path ahead of you is familiar, though you cannot quite remember when you walked it last. Perhaps it doesn't matter. What matters is that your feet know the way, that your body understands this rhythm of walking, of moving forward slowly, steadily, with no need to hurry, no need to rush. Each step is easy. Each step is gentle. Each step brings you closer to warmth, to shelter, to home. The air around you is cool, not cold, but refreshing in the way that autumn air can be, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and pine needles, of cedar and moss, of a forest that has been drinking in the rain for hours. You breathe in deeply, and the coolness fills your lungs, clean and pure and calming. You breathe out, and you feel your shoulders soften just a little, feel some small tension you didn't know you were carrying begin to ease away. The rain continues its quiet work. You can hear it landing on the broad leaves of the trees above you, a soft pattering that is almost musical in its rhythm. Patter, 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 then a pause, then patter, patter once more. It lands on the ferns that line the path, those delicate fronds that seem to catch each droplet and hold it for just a moment before releasing it to continue its journey downward. It lands on your coat, a good, sturdy coat that keeps you dry, that shields you from the rain while still letting you feel part of this gentle weather, this peaceful evening. You notice the droplets as they touch the fabric of your sleeves, as they catch the last traces of fading light. Some roll off immediately, returning to the earth. Others linger for a moment, tiny worlds unto themselves, reflecting the grey-green dimness of the forest around you. You watch one particular droplet as it clings to your cuff, growing heavier, rounder, fuller, until finally, so gently, it releases and falls, disappearing into the countless others that have come before. Beneath your feet, the path has grown soft with the rain. Not muddy, exactly, but yielding, receptive. Each step makes a quiet sound, a soft compression of earth and pine needles, of fallen leaves and the dark soil beneath. Your footfalls are muffled, absorbed by the forest floor, and this too adds to the sense of quiet, of peace, of a world that has turned down its volume to let you pass in tranquility. You walk on, and the path curves gently to the left, following the natural contours of the land. A tree root emerges from the ground, worn smooth by years of weather and footsteps, and you step over it carefully, mindfully, aware of each movement. There is no hurry here. There is only this, the walking, the rain, the green-grey dimness of the forest, and the knowledge that somewhere ahead, not too far now, warmth awaits. In the distance, so distant you almost think you might be imagining it, you hear thunder. But it is not the sharp crack of a nearby storm. It is the low, rolling rumble of thunder many miles away, a sound that is felt as much as heard, a deep resonance that seems to travel through the earth itself before reaching your ears. It is not threatening. It is not alarming. It is simply there, a reminder that the sky above the forest canopy is vast and alive, that weather moves and breathes and carries on its ancient patterns while you walk below, sheltered by the trees, held in this pocket of quietness. The mist has begun to gather as you walk. You see it first in the hollows between the trees, wisps of pale grey that seem to materialize from nowhere, that drift with a slowness that makes time itself feel like it has slowed down. The mist moves among the tree trunks like something alive but gentle, something that means no harm, that simply exists in this liminal space between earth and air. It softens the edges of everything, makes the forest seem both more intimate and more mysterious, as if you are walking through a place that exists slightly outside of ordinary time. You notice how the mist catches what little light remains in the sky. Though evening has fallen, though the day is clearly ending, there is still a faint luminescence to the air, not bright, but present, a soft glow that has no single source but seems to emanate from everywhere at once. The mist holds this light, diffuses it, spreads it gently through the spaces between the trees. Everything is grey and green and soft. And then, as you round another gentle curve in the path, you see it, a light. A warm, golden light that flickers slightly, steadily, through the trees ahead. It is not bright enough to hurt your eyes, not harsh or glaring, but warm and welcoming, unmistakably the light of human habitation, of shelter, of home. A lantern, you think. A lantern hanging outside a door, or perhaps sitting in a window, left burning to guide you home through the rainy evening. The sight of that light does something to you. You feel it in your chest, a loosening, a softening, a sense of relief that you didn't quite know you needed. You have been walking for some time, though you couldn't say exactly how long, and the sight of that warm glow means that your journey is nearly complete. You are almost there. You are almost home. You continue walking, and the light grows gradually closer. Not quickly. Nothing happens quickly in this gentle rain, on this quiet path, but steadily, reliably. With each step, the light becomes a little brighter, a little clearer. You begin to see, through the mist and the trees, the outline of a building. A cottage. A small, sturdy cottage with walls of dark wood and a roof of weathered shingles. A cottage that looks like it has stood in this exact spot for many years, that has weathered many storms, that has offered shelter to many travelers on many rainy evenings. The path narrows slightly as it approaches the cottage, and you notice small details now that you are close. There is a stone step at the doorway, worn smooth in the center where countless feet have trod. There are windows, small, paned windows that glow with that same warm, golden light. There is the lantern you glimpsed from afar, hanging from an iron hook beside the door, its flame protected by a glass enclosure, burning steady and true despite the rain. You notice the way the rain sounds different here, closer to the cottage. It falls on the roof with a slightly different rhythm, a soft drumming that is both steady and somehow musical. It falls on the wooden walls, darkening them, bringing out the grain in the old timber. It falls on the stone step, on the small garden bed beside the door where lavender grows in shadowy clumps, on the gravel that surrounds the cottage foundation. You stand for just a moment at the door, not quite ready to go inside yet, savoring this transition, this threshold moment. Behind you is the path, the forest, the gentle rain. Before you is the door, a solid wooden door with iron hinges and a simple latch. Behind that door is warmth, shelter, dryness, rest. You are between two worlds now, belonging fully to neither, and there is something peaceful about this moment of pause, this breath between arrival and entering. The rain continues to fall on your shoulders, on your hair, soft and persistent and kind. You can feel the coolness of it, the dampness, but you are not uncomfortable. Your coat has done its work. You are only pleasantly aware of the weather, only gently reminded that yes, you are outside, yes, you are in the rain, and yes, very soon you will step inside where it is warm and dry. You notice your breathing. It has become slow and steady, matching the rhythm of the rain, matching the rhythm of your walk. In and out, in and out. Each breath brings in the cool forest air, the scent of wet pine and earth. Each breath releases something, tension, perhaps, or simply the weight of the day. You feel your shoulders drop a little lower. You feel your jaw unclench slightly. You feel yourself arriving, truly arriving, not just physically but in some deeper way, some way that means you are finally, fully here. The light from the windows spills out onto the ground before you, golden pools in the dimness. You can see, through the glass, suggestions of what lies inside, the corner of a wooden beam, the edge of a table, the flicker of firelight on an interior wall. It looks warm in there. It looks safe. It looks exactly like the kind of place where you could rest, where you could let down your guard, where you could simply be. And so you reach for the door. Your hand finds the latch, cold metal against your palm, solid and real and reassuring. You lift it, feeling the small weight of it, hearing the soft click as it disengages. The door is ready to open. You are ready to enter. Everything is ready, everything is waiting, and there is no rush, no hurry, only this gentle, inevitable movement from outside to inside, from rain to shelter, from wandering to arrival. The path has brought you here. The rain has accompanied you. The forest has held you safe. And now it is time to step inside, to cross this threshold, to discover what warmth and peace await you in this cottage in the woods, in this safe harbor on this quiet, rainy evening. The door swings open slowly, smoothly, on hinges that have been well kept and oiled. There is barely any sound, just the quietest creak, so soft it is almost not there at all, and then the door is open, and you are standing on the threshold, and the first thing you feel is warmth. It rolls out to meet you like a gentle wave, this warmth. Not a blast of hot air, nothing harsh or overwhelming, but a soft, steady warmth that seems to wrap itself around you, that touches your face first, then your hands, then seeps gradually into the damp fabric of your coat. It is the warmth of shelter, of fire, of a space that has been holding this heat for hours, letting it build and settle into every corner, every surface, every beam and board. You step inside, crossing from the cool dampness of the rainy evening into the dry comfort of the cottage interior. The change is immediate but gentle, like slipping into a warm bath, like coming home after a long absence. Your body recognizes this transition, understands it, welcomes it. You can feel your muscles beginning to relax in response to the warmth, can feel your skin gratefully accepting this change from cool to warm, from damp to dry. Behind you, the sound of the rain continues, but it is different now. Muffled, softened. You are no longer in it, no longer part of it, but simply aware of it as a gentle backdrop, a reminder of the world outside while you stand here in this protected space. The rain has done its work. It has accompanied you home. Now it can continue on without you, falling on the forest, falling on the cottage roof, falling on the world while you rest inside, warm and safe. You turn, still standing just inside the doorway, and gently push the door closed. It swings shut with that same quiet smoothness, and when it meets the frame there is a soft, solid sound, a sound of finality, of security, of things sealed and settled. You slide the bolt across, a simple action that nonetheless carries meaning. You are inside now. The outside world is outside. This space is yours, protected and warm and safe. For a moment you simply stand there, still wearing your coat, still feeling the dampness of it against your arms and shoulders, and you let yourself adjust to being inside, to being home. You notice how different the air is here, not just warmer, but drier, carrying different scents. Wood, old timber, a hint of smoke from the fireplace. Something else too, maybe lavender, maybe dried herbs, something gentle and organic and pleasant. The air itself feels different against your skin, softer somehow, more welcoming. Now you begin the small rituals of arrival. You reach up and unbutton your coat, starting at the top and working your way down. Each button slides through its hole with ease, and with each one released, you feel the weight of the coat loosening, feel yourself becoming lighter. When the last button is undone, you shrug the coat from your shoulders, feeling the cool dampness of the outer fabric, the warmer dryness of the lining against your arms. The coat is heavy with rain, heavier than when you put it on, and you appreciate again how well it has protected you, how it has kept you dry even in the persistent rain. You look for a place to put the coat. There, just beside the door, a row of wooden pegs protrudes from the wall, simple, sturdy pegs, darkened with age and use. You lift the coat and hang it carefully on the nearest peg, smoothing it slightly so it will dry evenly. It hangs there, dripping very slightly, and you watch for a moment as a single droplet falls from the hem to the floor below, a tiny puddle already forming on the dark wooden boards. Your shoes next. You look down at them and see that they are muddy, wet, marked by the walk through the forest. They have served you well, these shoes, carrying you safely along the path, keeping your feet protected and comfortable. But they are outdoor things, rain-touched things, and they do not belong in this warm, dry space. You bend down and unlace them slowly, methodically, pulling each lace loose, feeling the release of pressure around your feet and ankles. You slip the first shoe off, then the second, and immediately feel the relief of it, the freedom of your feet, the sense of being truly unencumbered. In your socks, you feel the wooden floor beneath you, smooth and solid and just slightly warm from the heat that fills the cottage. You place your shoes neatly beside the door, side by side, toes pointed toward the wall. They look patient sitting there, like faithful animals resting after their work. Standing now in just your socks, coat hung up, shoes put away, you feel fundamentally different than you did just moments ago outside the door. Lighter, freer, more yourself. The outer layers that protected you from the rain are gone, and what remains is simply you, warm and dry, standing in this cottage, safe from the weather. You take a few steps away from the door, moving deeper into the cottage interior, and each step is quiet, your sock-covered feet making almost no sound against the wooden floor. The boards are wide and old, worn smooth by years of use, and they feel good beneath your feet, solid, supportive, real. You notice the grain in the wood, dark swirls and lines that speak of the tree this wood once was, of age and growth and time. The warmth surrounds you more completely now that you've moved away from the door, away from the last traces of outside cold. It's in the air you breathe, this warmth. It touches your face, your arms, the back of your neck. It seeps into your clothes, into the fibers of your shirt and pants, warming the fabric, warming you. You feel yourself relaxing into it, accepting it, letting it do its work of thawing whatever cold has found its way into your bones during your walk through the rain. You pause in the center of the small entryway, if it can even be called an entryway, for the cottage is not large, and spaces flow into one another without much ceremony or separation. But here, near the door, there is a sense of transition, a feeling of being in the space between outside and inside. The wooden floor is darker here from the rain that has been tracked in over the years. There is a woven mat, slightly faded, that once had a pattern but now is mostly just texture beneath your feet. You can hear the fire now. You couldn't hear it when you first came in. There was too much else to pay attention to, too many other sensations competing for your awareness. But now, standing still, you hear it clearly. The soft crackle and pop of burning wood, the gentle rush of flame consuming fuel, the occasional settling of logs as they burn through and collapse into embers. It's a comforting sound, a sound that speaks of warmth and safety and human habitation. The light inside the cottage is gentle, golden, coming from several sources. The fire itself, certainly, and perhaps a lamp or two, though you haven't looked around enough yet to be sure. It's not bright light, not the harsh illumination of overhead fixtures, but something softer, more organic, more suited to evening and rest. It casts gentle shadows, creates pools of brightness and dimness, makes the space feel intimate and enclosed in the best possible way. You notice how quiet it is inside the cottage, despite the crackle of the fire. There are no machines humming, no electronics buzzing, no clocks ticking loudly. Just the fire, just the muffled sound of rain on the roof, just your own breathing, slow, steady, peaceful. The quiet is not empty or lonely. It is full, somehow, full of warmth and safety and peace. You feel your chest expand with a deep breath, feel the warm air filling your lungs, and when you exhale, something releases with it. The day, the walk, whatever you carried with you to this place, it all begins to lift, to float away, leaving you lighter, clearer, more present in this moment, in this warm cottage, on this rainy evening. You are inside now. You are dry now. You are warm now. And the night stretches ahead of you, full of gentleness and peace and rest. There is nowhere else you need to be. Nothing else you need to do. You are here, and here is exactly where you are meant to be. Now that your coat and shoes are put away, now that you have crossed the threshold from outside to inside, you allow yourself to truly look around, to take in this space that will shelter you through the rainy evening and night ahead. You turn slowly, letting your eyes adjust fully to the warm, gentle light, letting the details of the cottage reveal themselves to you gradually, patiently, in their own time. The living room, for that is where you find yourself, is not large, but it doesn't need to be. It is exactly the right size, scaled perfectly to hold warmth, to create coziness, to make you feel enclosed and protected without feeling confined. The walls are made of dark wood, timber that has aged to a deep honey brown, boards fitted together carefully, their edges worn smooth by time and perhaps by countless hands running along them over the years. The ceiling follows the slope of the roof, meeting at a central beam that runs the length of the room. This beam is substantial, thick as a tree trunk, and you can see the marks on it where it was hewn by hand, the slight irregularities that speak of human work, of someone long ago shaping this wood to hold up this roof, to make this shelter possible. The beam is dark with age and, you suspect, smoke from many fires over many years. It looks strong. It looks like it will hold up the roof forever, or near enough. Your eyes are drawn to the fireplace, which dominates one wall of the room. It is made of stone, rounded river stones fitted together with mortar, each one unique in size and color, ranging from dove grey to rust red to speckled granite. The stones are smooth, worn by water long before they were built into this fireplace, and they hold the warmth of the fire, radiating it out into the room. The fireplace opening is not enormous, but it is large enough, and within it, the fire burns steadily, flames dancing in shades of orange and yellow and, at their base, blue. The wood in the fireplace has been carefully arranged. You can see the attention paid to it, the way the logs are positioned to allow air to flow, to let the fire breathe and burn cleanly. The flames move constantly, never quite the same from one moment to the next, creating an ever-changing play of light and shadow across the room. You find yourself watching them for a moment, mesmerized by their movement, by the way they flicker and dance with a life of their own. Above the fireplace, on a wooden mantel darkened with age, there are a few simple objects. A wooden clock, its face showing the time in Roman numerals, its hands moving so slowly you cannot detect their movement, but you trust they are moving nonetheless, marking the passage of this gentle evening. Beside the clock, a few smooth stones, collected from a riverbed, perhaps, or from a beach, arranged in a small pile. A single candle in a brass holder, unlit for now, the fire providing more than enough light. These objects have the look of things that have been in their places for a long time, that belong there, that are part of the character and history of this cottage. You turn your attention to the floor. It is covered in places with rugs, thick, woven rugs in muted colors, patterns that might once have been vibrant but have faded over time to soft shades of burgundy and navy and forest green. The rugs are worn in places, particularly in the paths between the door and the fire, between the fire and the places where people sit. But this wear is not damage. It is character. It is evidence of use, of life, of the many feet that have walked these paths before you, that have stood warming themselves by this fire, that have lived their quiet evenings in this cottage. Where there are no rugs, the wooden floorboards show through, and they are beautiful in their simplicity. Wide planks of pine or oak, fitted closely together, their surfaces worn smooth and slightly uneven from years of footsteps. In the firelight, the grain of the wood seems to glow, lines and whirls catching the light differently depending on the angle, creating subtle patterns that shift as the flames move. Against one wall, there is a sofa, not a new one, not modern or sleek, but an old, comfortable-looking sofa with a wooden frame and thick cushions covered in faded fabric. The cushions show the impressions of many bodies that have sat there, have sunk into their softness, have curled up with books or simply sat staring into the fire. There are pillows too, several of them, scattered along the sofa's length, some with embroidered covers, some plain, all of them looking soft and inviting. You move closer to the sofa and reach out to touch one of the pillows. Your fingers sink into the fabric, find the feather filling beneath, and you squeeze gently, feeling the give and resistance, the soft loft of it. The pillow is cool to the touch, not having been sat against recently, but you know it will warm quickly once held or leaned against, will mold itself to your shape, will provide that perfect combination of support and softness that makes a pillow truly comfortable. Near the sofa, there is a small table, a side table made of wood that matches the walls and beams, its surface marked with the rings left by many cups and glasses over many years. Someone has tried to polish it once, you can see, for there are places where the wood gleams more than others, but mostly it has been left to age naturally, to accumulate its small marks and scars and imperfections that tell the story of its use and its life. On the table sits an oil lamp, its glass chimney clean and clear, its reservoir full of oil, the wick trimmed and ready. It is not lit now, the fire provides enough light, but you are glad to see it there, to know that if needed, if wanted, you could light it and have more light, gentle lamplight to read by or simply to watch. Beyond the sofa, tucked into a corner, there is a large armchair, and you know immediately, just by looking at it, that this is where you will want to sit later, when you are ready to truly settle in. It is upholstered in leather, dark brown leather that has been worn and softened by use until it must feel like butter under your hands. The seat cushion sags slightly in the middle, the back reclines at just the right angle, and there are arms wide enough to rest a cup or a book, worn smooth where countless hands have gripped them while standing up or sitting down. A footstool sits before the armchair, small and sturdy, covered in the same worn leather. positioned at exactly the right distance for putting up your feet, for stretching out, for complete relaxation. You can imagine it already, sitting in that chair, feet on that stool, fire crackling nearby, rain pattering on the roof above. The thought alone makes you feel tired in the best way, makes you look forward to that moment of complete rest that you know is coming. You continue your slow circuit of the room. Against another wall, there are shelves, wooden shelves built right into the wall structure, fitted between the beams, creating a kind of built-in bookcase that looks like it has always been there, like it grew there along with the cottage itself. The shelves are not empty. They hold books, many books, spines of different colors and sizes creating a patchwork pattern. Some of the books are old, leather-bound, their titles stamped in faded gold that is hard to read from where you stand. Others are newer, though none are truly recent, their cloth covers showing the muted colors favored in decades past. Between the books, there are other objects. A small wooden box with a hinged lid. A few smooth pieces of driftwood, grey and sculpted by water. A white candle in a pottery holder. A small framed photograph, too distant and too dim for you to make out the image. But you can see it is there, that someone's memory or loved ones are preserved in that frame, watching over this room. These objects are not arranged with any obvious artistry. They simply are where they are, placed there by someone over time, added to as new treasures were found or received, creating a collection that speaks of a life lived, of attention paid to beauty and memory. Near the shelves, there is a window, one of the small, paned windows you saw from outside. The rain streams down the glass, and though it is dark outside now, the firelight from inside reflects in the window, turning it into a mirror of sorts, showing you the room behind you, showing you yourself standing there, a shadow among shadows, looking back at yourself looking out. You step closer to the window and peer through the glass, cupping your hands around your eyes to block out the interior light. Outside, you can just barely make out the shapes of trees, dark silhouettes against a slightly less dark sky. The rain continues to fall, and you watch the drops as they strike the window, as they run down the glass in rivulets, joining with other drops, forming tiny rivers that flow downward pulled by gravity, by the inevitable movement of water seeking the earth. The sound of the rain is constant now, a backdrop to everything, a gentle white noise that seems to fill the spaces between other sounds, between the crackle of the fire, between your own quiet breathing, between the occasional small creak of the cottage settling. It is a soothing sound, hypnotic almost, and you find yourself listening to it, finding patterns in it, hearing rhythms that might or might not truly be there. You turn away from the window and continue your exploration. There is a trunk at the foot of the sofa, an old wooden trunk with metal corners and a curved lid, the kind of trunk that might have traveled on ships or trains, that might have held someone's worldly possessions as they journeyed to a new life. The wood is scuffed and scarred, marked by its travels and its years, but it is sturdy still, solid, and when you press down on the lid you find it doesn't give at all, doesn't flex or creak. Whatever is inside, blankets, perhaps, or linens, or old clothes stored away, is well protected. Above the trunk, thrown casually over the back of the sofa, there is a blanket. You reach out and touch it, and it is exactly what you hoped it would be, thick, soft, heavy with warmth. It is knitted or perhaps woven, made from wool if you're not mistaken, and its weight is substantial without being oppressive. You lift a corner of it and feel the texture, the slight roughness of the wool, the way it has been softened by use and washing. This blanket has covered many people on many evenings, has provided warmth and comfort and security. Tonight, you think, it might cover you. The room holds other small details, things you notice as your eyes adjust more fully to the gentle light, as you become more attuned to this space. There is a basket beside the fireplace filled with more wood for burning, split logs, neatly stacked, their ends showing the growth rings of the trees they came from, their sides showing the marks of the axe that split them. The wood is dry, aged, perfect for burning, and there is something comforting about seeing it there, about knowing that the fire can be fed, can be kept going through the night if needed or desired. There are wooden beams running across the ceiling, smaller than the main central beam but substantial nonetheless, and from one of them hangs a small bunch of dried herbs. Lavender, you think, or perhaps rosemary, tied together with twine and left to hang until needed. The herbs have faded to a pale grey-green, but when you breathe in, you think you can still detect their scent, mixing with the smell of wood smoke and old timber and rain. A clock ticks somewhere, softly, steadily, marking time but not intrusively, not demanding attention. Just there, just present, reminding you that time passes but that there is no rush, no urgency, nowhere you need to be but here. The living room feels lived in, not cluttered, not messy, but comfortable in the way that spaces become when they are truly used, truly inhabited. There is a sense that people have sat in that chair, have warmed themselves by that fire, have read those books, have looked out that window at the rain. The cottage remembers these moments, holds them in its walls and floors and beams, and offers them to you now as a kind of comfort, a kind of promise that you too can rest here, can be safe here, can let yourself simply be. You stand in the center of the room and turn slowly once more, taking it all in, the fire, the shelves, the windows, the worn furniture, the soft light, the gentle shadows. You feel something settling in your chest, a kind of ease, a kind of rightness. This is a good place. This is a safe place. This is exactly where you want to be on this rainy evening. The rain continues its gentle drumming on the roof. The fire continues its quiet crackling. And you stand there, warm and dry and sheltered, feeling the cares of the day, the worries and tensions, beginning to slip away, beginning to release their hold, leaving you lighter, freer, more at peace. After spending time in the living room, letting your eyes wander over the comfortable furniture and well-worn objects, you become aware of a gentle desire, not quite hunger, not quite thirst, but something in between. A wish for warmth from the inside, for something soothing and simple. Tea, you think. A cup of tea would be perfect right now, perfect for this rainy evening, perfect for this feeling of settling in. You leave the living room, your sock-covered feet silent on the wooden floor, and move toward what must be the kitchen. The cottage is small enough that spaces flow naturally from one to another, and you find the kitchen just beyond the living room, separated not by a door but by a simple archway, an opening in the wall that lets you pass through while still maintaining the sense of moving from one space to another, one purpose to another. The kitchen is small, efficient, everything within easy reach. Like the living room, it is made of dark wood, wooden counters worn smooth by years of use, wooden cabinets with simple hinges and handles, wooden shelves holding dishes and cups and jars. There is a window here too, and through it you can see the rain still falling, still steady, still gentle, turning the glass into a streaming, shifting pattern of water and darkness. The light in the kitchen comes from a small lamp on the counter, another oil lamp similar to the one you saw in the living room. Its flame burns steadily behind clean glass, casting a warm, golden glow that makes the kitchen feel cozy despite its utilitarian purpose. The light reflects off the surfaces, the worn wood of the counters, the glazed surface of a ceramic bowl, the glass door of a cabinet. You look around, taking inventory. The kitchen is tidy, everything in its place. There is a sink, and when you test the tap, water flows, cold, clear water that must come from a spring or a well. There is a stove, not electric but a small wood-burning stove, its surface dark cast iron, a kettle already sitting on one of the burners. Perfect. The stove radiates warmth, another source of heat in addition to the fireplace in the living room, and you can see that it has been used recently. that there are still embers glowing faintly in its firebox. You reach for the kettle. It is made of copper, heavy and solid, with a wooden handle that has been worn smooth by countless hands gripping it over countless years. You lift it and feel the weight of it, hear the slight sloshing of water inside. Someone has left it partly filled, but you decide to empty it and start fresh, to make this ritual completely your own. You carry the kettle to the sink and pour out the old water, watching it swirl down the drain. Then you place the spout under the tap and turn the handle, and fresh water flows out, cold and clear, splashing into the copper interior of the kettle with a pleasant, musical sound. You watch the water level rise, filling the kettle halfway, then a bit more, then just a touch more, enough for a generous cup of tea with perhaps some left over, but not so much that it will take forever to boil. When it feels right, you turn off the tap and lift the kettle, testing its weight again. Yes, that's good. That's just right. Carrying the kettle back to the stove, you set it carefully on the burner. The cast iron surface is still warm from earlier use, but the fire inside has died down. You'll need to build it back up. This, too, becomes part of the ritual, part of the slow, mindful process of making tea on a rainy evening. You open the firebox door, and a gentle wave of warmth emerges, carrying with it the scent of wood ash and the faint glow of embers that are still alive, still holding their heat. You can see a few pieces of partially burned wood, blackened and glowing red in places where air reaches them. They need fuel, need wood to consume, need tending. Beside the stove, there is a small basket with kindling and a few pieces of split wood, kept here specifically for the purpose of feeding this stove, of keeping water hot and meals warm. You select a few pieces of kindling first, thin, dry sticks that will catch easily, and place them carefully on top of the embers, arranging them so that air can flow between them. Almost immediately, you see the sticks begin to smoke, see tiny flames licking up where they touch the hottest embers. You wait, patient, watching the fire wake up. The flames grow, spreading from one stick to another, dancing and flickering in the confined space of the firebox. When the kindling is burning well, you add a slightly larger piece of wood, placing it carefully, giving the fire something more substantial to work with. The wood catches, flames curling around its edges, and you feel the satisfaction of having successfully tended a fire, having helped it grow from embers to active flame. You close the firebox door, adjusting the air vent slightly to give the fire oxygen, but not so much that it will burn too quickly, too hot. The goal is a steady, moderate heat, enough to bring water to a boil, but not so fierce that it will boil away or burn the bottom of the kettle. It's a balance, a small art, and you find yourself pleased to be engaging in it, pleased to be doing this simple, ancient task of building a fire to heat water for tea. Now you wait for the water to warm. Waiting is part of the ritual too, an essential part. You cannot rush the heating of water. You cannot force it. You can only wait, patient and present, letting the fire do its work, letting heat transfer from flame to metal to water, molecules moving faster and faster until they reach that critical point where they will turn to steam. While you wait, you turn your attention to finding tea. You look in the cabinets, opening doors carefully, peering inside at what they hold. The cabinets are not cluttered, but neither are they sparse. There are dishes, mismatched plates and bowls, some plain white, some with faded patterns. There are cups and mugs, a variety of sizes and shapes. There are jars and tins, containers holding flour and sugar and rice and other staples. And there, on one shelf, you find what you're looking for. A wooden box, small and rectangular, with a hinged lid. You lift it down and open it, and inside you find tea. Not tea bags in individual paper envelopes, but loose tea, several different kinds in small compartments or cloth bags within the box. You lean closer and breathe in, and the scent is wonderful. Dried leaves and flowers, each type with its own subtle fragrance. You examine the options. There is black tea, dark and robust looking. There is green tea, paler, more delicate. There is something that looks and smells like chamomile, small dried flowers that release a gentle, apple-like scent. And there is a tea that might be herbal, might be a blend. You see pieces of dried herbs, perhaps mint, perhaps something else, mixed together. For tonight, for this rainy evening, you choose the chamomile. It seems right, seems perfectly suited to the gentle, peaceful mood, to the feeling of winding down, of preparing for rest. You take a small handful of the dried flowers, letting them fall through your fingers back into their compartment, getting a sense of their texture, their dryness, their fragility. Then you scoop out enough for a cup, perhaps a tablespoon, perhaps a bit more. It doesn't need to be exact, and cup it in your palm. You need a teapot, or at least something to steep the tea in. You look around and find, on another shelf, a simple teapot made of brown ceramic, glazed and smooth, with a comfortable handle and a spout and a lid that fits snugly. You take it down and set it on the counter, then open it to check inside. It is clean, dry, ready to use. Perfect. You place the dried chamomile flowers in the bottom of the teapot, hearing the soft whisper as they fall, seeing them pile up in a small golden mound. They look beautiful there, these dried flowers, full of potential, waiting for hot water to unlock their flavor and soothing properties. The kettle is beginning to make sounds now, not yet boiling, but warming up, small pops and ticks as the metal expands, as the water inside begins to move and heat. You place your hand near it, not touching but close, and feel the warmth radiating from it. Not yet. Soon, but not yet. Patience. You find a cup for yourself, a simple ceramic mug, white with no decoration, thick-walled and sturdy, the kind of mug that holds heat well and feels good in your hands. You set it on the counter next to the teapot, preparing your station, creating a small assembly line for the process of making tea, kettle to teapot to cup. The kitchen is warm now, warmed by the stove, by the lamp, by your presence. Outside, the rain continues, visible through the window, audible through the walls, a constant gentle presence. But inside is dry and warm and bright, and you are engaged in this simple, satisfying task, this ritual of making tea that people have performed for thousands of years, in thousands of places, finding comfort and peace in the process. The kettle's sounds change. The pops become more frequent. You hear the first whisper of steam, see the very beginning of vapor rising from the spout. The water is getting close. You watch attentively, not wanting to let it boil too hard, not wanting to overboil it and drive off the oxygen that makes water taste good, that makes tea taste its best. And then, there, the water reaches a rolling boil, and steam pours from the spout in a steady stream, visible in the lamplight. You reach for the kettle, gripping the wooden handle carefully, feeling the heat of the metal body even through the wood. You lift it from the stove, and it is heavy now, heavy with boiling water and purpose. You carry the kettle to the counter where the teapot waits, its lid already removed. You tilt the spout over the teapot opening, and carefully, slowly, you begin to pour. The water comes out clear and hot, and the moment it touches the dried chamomile flowers, things begin to happen. The flowers swirl and float, lifted by the incoming water. They begin to release their essence, their color, their flavor, and almost immediately the water in the teapot starts to turn from clear to a pale gold. You pour until the teapot is full enough, not to the very brim, but close, leaving just enough room for the lid. The steam rises from the pot, carrying with it the scent of chamomile, sweet and gentle and soothing. You set the kettle down and replace the lid on the teapot, sealing in the heat, sealing in the steeping process. Now, again, you wait. The tea needs time to steep, time for the water to draw out everything the chamomile has to offer. You've heard different opinions about how long, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7. But tonight you decide you will simply wait until it feels right, until your instinct tells you the tea is ready. While you wait, you lean against the counter, looking around the kitchen again, noticing small details you missed before. There is a small vase on the windowsill, empty now, but you imagine it filled with fresh flowers in the summer, with branches in the winter. There are marks on the wooden counter near the stove, small burns and scars from hot pots set down quickly, from years of cooking and boiling and preparing. There is a towel hanging from a hook, clean and worn soft from many washings. The rain on the window draws your attention, and you move closer to look out. The darkness outside is complete now, true night, and the window acts more as a mirror than a view, showing you the kitchen behind you reflected in the glass. But where the rain runs down, the reflection breaks apart into abstract patterns, shifting and changing constantly, and there is something mesmerizing about it, something that quiets your mind and lets you simply observe without thinking, without analyzing. You turn back to the teapot and test it with your hand, feeling the heat radiating from the ceramic. Still hot, still steeping. You lift it slightly and swirl it gently, helping the water and the flowers mix more thoroughly, helping the steeping process along. Through the ceramic, you can feel the weight of the liquid inside, can imagine the flowers floating and turning in the hot water. Finally, you decide the tea is ready. You pick up your white mug and hold it in one hand, then lift the teapot with the other. You tilt it over the cup, and the tea pours out through the spout, which must have a small strainer built in, because the liquid that flows into your cup is clear of flowers, just pale golden tea, steaming and fragrant. You fill the cup about 3/4 full, leaving room for cooling, leaving room for the steam to escape. The warmth of the tea transfers immediately to the ceramic of the mug, and you feel it against your palms as you hold the cup with both hands. It's hot, almost too hot to hold, but not quite. Just right. You lift the cup and bring it close to your face, not to drink yet, but to smell. The steam rises and touches your face, warm and damp, carrying the scent of chamomile, sweet and herbal and soothing. You breathe in deeply, letting the scented steam fill your nose, your sinuses, bringing with it a sense of calm and comfort. The tea is still too hot to drink, so you continue to hold it, letting its warmth seep into your hands, into your arms, into your core. You notice how good this feels, not just the physical warmth, though that is lovely, but the emotional warmth too, the sense of having made something for yourself, having engaged in this small ritual of self-care, having taken the time to do this simple thing well and mindfully. You blow gently across the surface of the tea, watching the steam swirl and thin, seeing the liquid ripple in response to your breath. Then you take the first small sip, just enough to test the temperature, to get a first taste. The tea is still hot but drinkable, and the flavor is exactly what you hoped for. Gentle, floral, soothing, with that characteristic apple-like sweetness that good chamomile has. It warms your mouth, your throat, and then settles into your stomach, spreading its warmth from the inside. Perfect. This is perfect. You take another sip, a bit more this time, and the warmth continues its gentle work, relaxing you from the inside out. With your cup of tea in hand, you look around the kitchen once more, satisfied with your work, the fire you've tended, the water you've boiled, the tea you've made. Everything has been done mindfully, carefully, with attention and intention. And now you have this, a warm cup of chamomile tea, perfect for a rainy evening, perfect for helping you settle in, helping you relax, helping you prepare for the deep rest that awaits you later. You turn and make your way back toward the living room, moving slowly, carefully, mindful of the hot tea in your hands, ready now to settle by the fire, to continue this gentle evening of rest and peace. Carrying your warm cup of tea, you return to the living room where the fire still crackles softly in its stone hearth, where the warm light still fills the space with golden shadows, where that comfortable leather armchair waits for you, patient and inviting. The living room feels even cozier now than when you first explored it. Warmer, perhaps, as the fire has had more time to heat the space, or perhaps it's just that you are more relaxed now, more attuned to the comfort that surrounds you. You move toward the armchair, the one you noticed earlier, the one you knew immediately would be your destination once you were ready to truly settle in. As you approach, you notice again its perfectly worn leather, the way the seat cushion sags slightly in the middle, shaped by the bodies that have sat there before, shaped to receive you now. The arms of the chair are smooth and warm, touched by the firelight, and the back reclines at an angle that looks like it was calculated specifically for maximum comfort. But before you sit, you pause. Something is missing. Ah yes, the blanket. The thick, soft wool blanket you found earlier, thrown over the back of the sofa. That blanket needs to be part of this experience, needs to be there to provide that extra layer of warmth and security and comfort. You set your teacup down carefully on the small table beside the armchair. The table is close enough to reach easily, the surface worn and marked but sturdy, perfect for holding your tea while you arrange yourself. Then you cross to the sofa and lift the blanket, feeling again its substantial weight, its soft texture, its promise of warmth. You carry it back to the armchair, letting it partially unfold as you walk, its weight pulling it open. Now you are ready. You lower yourself into the armchair, and it receives you exactly as you knew it would, with a soft compression of leather and cushioning, with a slight sigh as if the chair itself is settling in along with you, as if it too is relieved and pleased to have someone sitting in it again. The seat is exactly the right depth, the back exactly the right height. Your spine finds its natural curve, your neck finds support, your shoulders drop and release tension you didn't realize you were still holding. You adjust your position slightly, wiggling a bit deeper into the seat, letting your body find its perfect placement. Your feet find the footstool, and yes, it too is positioned exactly right. Not too far away, not too close, but perfectly placed to allow you to stretch out your legs, to elevate your feet slightly, to achieve that full body relaxation that comes from having every limb supported, every joint at ease. Now you take the blanket and arrange it over yourself. You shake it open, and it billows slightly in the warm air before settling down over your lap, over your legs. It's large enough to cover you from waist to toes, and you tuck it around yourself, around your sides, creating a warm cocoon. The weight of it is immediately comforting, like a gentle, constant hug, and the wool is soft against your hands where you smooth it down. Settled now, fully arranged in the chair with the blanket over you, you reach for your teacup. Your hand knows exactly where it is. You set it down only moments ago, after all, and your fingers close around the warm ceramic. You bring the cup to your lips and take a sip. The tea is still hot, but it has cooled slightly during your preparations, and now it is exactly the right temperature for drinking, hot enough to warm you, cool enough to drink easily. The chamomile flavor fills your mouth again, gentle and soothing, and you swallow, feeling the warmth travel down your throat, feeling it spread through your chest and settle into your stomach. You take another sip, and then another, and each one brings a little more warmth, a little more relaxation, a little more sense that everything is exactly as it should be. You set the cup back on the table, within easy reach, and settle back into the chair more fully now, letting your head rest against the high back, letting your eyes half close as you gaze toward the fire. The flames are mesmerizing, constantly moving but never rushing, always changing but always the same. orange and yellow at their hearts, paler at their tips, occasionally blue at their bases where they meet the wood. They flicker and dance, casting moving shadows on the stone of the fireplace, on the wooden walls, on the ceiling beams above. The fire makes sounds, small sounds, comfortable sounds. The crackle of wood fibers breaking down. The soft pop of sap heating and expanding. The gentle rush of air being drawn into the flames, feeding them, keeping them alive. Occasionally a log shifts, settles, sends up a small shower of sparks that glow bright orange for a moment before winking out. These sounds create a kind of rhythm, not regular like music but organic, natural, more like breathing than like any mechanical process. You notice how the firelight plays across the room. It reaches the shelves of books, making the spines glow faintly, making the titles briefly legible before shadow passes over them again. It touches the windows, turning them into mirrors that reflect the fire back at you, doubling the flames, creating the illusion of more warmth, more light. It finds the objects on the mantel, the clock, the stones, the unlit candle, and gives them each a moment of prominence before moving on, never resting, always in motion. The warmth from the fire reaches you in your chair, travels across the space between the hearth and where you sit, touches your face and hands and the parts of you not covered by the blanket. It mingles with the warmth you're generating yourself, wrapped in wool, relaxed and comfortable. Your body heat trapped by the blanket and reflected back to you. You are perfectly, completely warm, not hot, not overheated, but warm in that deep, satisfying way that makes you want to never move again. Outside, the rain continues. You can hear it now as a constant presence, a backdrop to everything else, to the fire's crackle, to your own breathing, to the occasional small sounds the cottage makes as it settles around you. The rain falls on the roof above, steady and rhythmic, a soft drumming that is soothing in its regularity. It falls on the ground outside, on the forest, on the path you walked earlier. It is still out there, doing its patient work, while you are in here, warm and dry and safe. The contrast between inside and outside adds to your comfort. You are aware of the cool, damp night beyond the walls, aware of the rain and the darkness, and this awareness makes the warmth and light inside feel even more precious, even more valuable. You are sheltered. You are protected. Nothing from outside can reach you here, can disturb this peace you found. Your breathing has become very slow, very deep. You notice this without trying to control it. Notice how each breath comes and goes with a gentle rhythm, how your chest rises and falls, rises and falls, in time with some internal rhythm that needs no conscious direction. Each inhale brings in warm air, scented with wood smoke and wool and the faint floral notes of your tea. Each exhale releases whatever small tensions remain, sends them out into the room where they dissipate and disappear. Time feels different here, sitting by the fire. It seems to slow down, to become elastic, to lose its usual urgency. You have no idea how long you've been sitting here. It could be 10 minutes or 30 or an hour. It doesn't matter. Time is not important. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do. There is only this, the chair, the blanket, the fire, the rain, this perfect moment of stillness and warmth. You reach for your teacup again, moving slowly, not wanting to disturb your state of relaxation. Your fingers find the handle, and you lift the cup with care, bring it to your lips. The tea is cooler now, but still pleasantly warm, and you take a long, slow sip, letting the liquid rest on your tongue for a moment before swallowing. You can taste the chamomile clearly now that the tea has cooled a bit, its gentle flavor, its slight sweetness, its soothing quality. You hold the cup in both hands after you drink, not setting it down immediately, enjoying the warmth of it against your palms, the smooth texture of the ceramic, the weight of the tea inside. You look down into the cup and see the surface of the liquid, pale gold, reflecting the firelight, tiny ripples moving across it in response to the slight tremor of your hands, in response to your heartbeat. Eventually you set the cup down again, and you let your hands rest on the arms of the chair, your fingers curling slightly over the smooth, worn leather. Your feet are still elevated on the footstool, and you flex your toes beneath the blanket, then relax them again, enjoying the simple sensation of movement and then stillness. The fire continues its endless dance. You watch as one log, burned through in the middle, suddenly collapses in on itself, splitting into two pieces that fall onto the bed of coals below. A shower of sparks rises up, glowing bright like tiny stars, before they fade and disappear. The fire rearranges itself around this new configuration, flames finding new paths through the wood, new surfaces to consume, and within moments it is burning as steadily as before, as if nothing has changed. You feel a profound sense of peace settling over you, into you. It starts in your chest, a warmth that is not just physical but emotional, spiritual even. It spreads outward from there, down your arms to your fingertips, down your legs to your toes, up your neck to the top of your head. Every part of you feels relaxed, feels at ease, feels held in this moment of perfect comfort and safety. Your eyelids grow heavy, though you are not quite ready to close them yet. You want to continue watching the fire, continue being present to this moment, continue feeling this deep, abiding sense of wellness and peace. So you let your eyes rest, let them go slightly out of focus, let the fire become a blur of orange and gold, let the room around you soften into shadows and gentle light. This is what you needed, you realize. This quiet evening, this warm cottage, this fire, and this chair, and this blanket, and this tea. This respite from whatever lies outside these walls, whatever concerns and responsibilities and demands make up your usual life. Here, now, none of that matters. Here, now, there is only peace. The rain whispers on. The fire crackles on. And you rest on, held by the chair, warmed by the fire and the blanket, soothed by the tea and the sounds of this perfect rainy evening. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Chapter 6. The Cottage Library. After sitting by the fire for a long time, how long exactly, you cannot say, for time has become fluid and unimportant in the warmth and comfort of the armchair. You become aware of a gentle pull toward movement, toward exploration. Not a restless urge, not a need to escape the comfort you found, but simply a quiet invitation to discover more of what this cottage holds, to see what other small treasures and peaceful corners might be waiting for you. You open your eyes fully and sit up slightly in the chair, careful not to disturb the blanket too much, not wanting to lose the nest of warmth you've created. You look around the room again, and your eyes are drawn to the shelves you noticed earlier, those built-in wooden shelves against the wall, filled with books and small objects, promising quiet discoveries. The decision forms slowly, gently. You will go explore those shelves, will look at those books, will see what stories and knowledge and memories they might hold. But there is no rush. You sit for another moment, finishing the last of your tea, feeling the final warmth of it sliding down your throat. Then you set the empty cup on the side table and prepare to rise. You lift the blanket from your lap and fold it loosely, draping it over the arm of the chair where you can easily retrieve it later. Then you push yourself up from the chair's embrace, and there is a moment of adjustment as your body remembers how to stand, as your muscles engage after their period of rest. You stretch slightly, feeling the pleasant pull of limbs extending, of spine lengthening, and then you move toward the shelves, your sock-covered feet silent on the wooden floor. As you approach the shelves, you see them in more detail than you could from across the room. The wood from which they're constructed matches the walls, the same dark, honey-colored timber, worn and aged and beautiful. Each shelf is about shoulder height, built into the wall between two supporting beams, creating a section of bookcase that looks permanent, integral to the cottage structure. The books themselves are arranged without any obvious system, not alphabetized, not organized by size or subject, but simply placed where space allowed, where someone thought they looked right, creating an organic collection that has grown over time. Some books stand upright, spine out. Others are stacked horizontally in small piles. A few lean against each other at angles, propped up by bookends or by neighboring volumes. You reach out and touch one of the spines, a leather-bound book, its cover dark green, the title stamped in gold but mostly worn away, legible only if you tilt your head and catch the light just right. The leather is soft under your fingertips, worn smooth by handling, by the oils from many hands over many years. You slide the book out carefully, supporting it from beneath, and hold it in both hands, feeling its weight, its substance. The book is old. You can tell by the binding, by the yellowed edges of the pages, by the musty sweet smell that rises from it when you open the cover. The pages are thick, made of substantial paper that has aged to a cream color, and the text is printed in a typeface you don't often see anymore, formal and careful and beautiful in its own way. You read the title page, Essays on the Natural World, published sometime in the 1890s, the author's name long and formal. You turn a few pages and read random sentences, fragments of observation about forests and streams and the behavior of birds. The writing is dense, careful, clearly from another era, but there is something soothing about it, something peaceful in these observations of nature, in this attention paid to small details of the living world. You close the book and return it to its place, then select another. This one is smaller, bound in faded red cloth, and when you open it you discover it's a volume of poetry. The pages fall open to a poem about rain, how fitting for this evening, and you read a few lines, letting the rhythm of the verses wash over you, not worrying about understanding every allusion or reference, just enjoying the music of the language, the way the poet found words for the sound of rain, the feeling of storms, the peace that comes after. You continue exploring, taking down book after book, some holding your attention for several pages, others just briefly. You find a book about trees, illustrated with detailed botanical drawings. You find a collection of folk tales from some country you can't quite identify. You find a slim volume of philosophy, dense and challenging, which you quickly return to the shelf. You find a book of pressed flowers, fragile dried petals and leaves carefully mounted on pages, labeled in fading ink, a botanical record from some summer long ago. Between the books, as you noticed before, there are other objects. You examine these too, picking them up carefully, feeling their textures, wondering about their stories. The smooth pieces of driftwood, where did they come from? A beach somewhere? A river? Who found them, and what made them worth keeping? The wooden box with its hinged lid, you open it and find inside a collection of small things. Buttons, a few old coins, a tarnished key that must fit some lock somewhere in the cottage, a dried flower head, brown and brittle. There is a photograph in a small frame, and you pick it up to look more closely. The image is black and white, faded, showing two people standing in front of what might be this very cottage, though it's hard to be sure. They are smiling, these people, dressed in clothes from decades past, and there is something about their faces, their posture, that speaks of contentment, of peace, of a life well lived in this simple place. You wonder who they were, what their names might have been, whether they sat by this same fire, read these same books, watched this same rain fall on these same windows. You set the photograph down gently and continue your exploration. Your fingers trail along the spines of the books, feeling the variations in texture. Smooth leather, rough cloth, slick dust jackets on the few more modern volumes. Each book is a door to another world, another mind, another way of seeing and thinking and being. Even without reading them, just being near them, just touching them, you feel a sense of richness, of possibility, of human knowledge and creativity preserved and shared. Near the end of one shelf, you find something that makes you pause, a journal. Unlike the other books, which are printed, published, formal in their way, this is clearly a personal volume. It's bound in leather, dark brown leather that has been handled often, and it is tied shut with a leather cord wrapped several times around it. You hesitate before picking it up. A journal is intimate, private, but it is here, on these shelves, not hidden away, and something about that suggests it was meant to be found, meant to be read, at least eventually, by someone who came after. You untie the cord, unwrapping it slowly, and open the journal. The pages are filled with handwriting, a careful, even hand in dark ink, entries dated over the course of what appears to be several years. You turn to a page at random and begin to read. November 17th. The rain came today, gentle and steady, the kind of rain that doesn't demand attention but simply is, simply falls, simply does its work of watering the earth and filling the streams. I spent the morning by the fire, watching the light change as clouds moved past. There is a particular quality to the light on rainy days. Soft, even, neither bright nor dim but something in between, something that makes colors seem both muted and richer at the same time. I am grateful for this cottage, for this shelter, for the way it holds warmth even when the world outside is cold and wet. You stop reading and look up, startled by the coincidence. November 17th, today's date, or close to it, and the description of the rain, of the light, matches exactly what you experienced on your walk to the cottage, what you are experiencing now. It's as if the writer of this journal is speaking directly to you, across time, describing this very evening you're living through. You read another entry, from a different date. The fire burned low tonight, just embers glowing in the darkness, and I sat watching them for a long time, thinking about how fire is transformation, would becoming heat, becoming light, becoming ash. Nothing is lost, really. It all just changes form. The energy locked in the wood when it was a growing tree is released, becomes warmth in this room, becomes the heat that dries my rain-soaked clothes, becomes eventually the microscopic movements of air molecules that will disperse into the wider world. I find this thought comforting. Nothing ends. Everything continues, just differently. There is something beautiful in this writing, something that speaks to deep attention, to a mind that notices and reflects and finds meaning in simple things. You turn more pages, reading here and there, finding entries about watching birds, about the changing seasons, about the pleasure of reading by lamplight, about the sound of wind in trees, about the satisfaction of splitting firewood and seeing the neat stack grow. None of the entries are long. None are dramatic or filled with event. They are simply observations, reflections, small moments of peace and attention recorded and preserved. They are exactly the kind of writing suited to this cottage, to this quiet place removed from the rush and noise of the larger world. You find an entry about books. I discovered today that I can read the same book multiple times and find something new each time. Not because the book changes, of course, but because I do. Each reading brings a different me to the text, older, perhaps wiser, certainly different from the person I was the last time I read these pages. The words remain the same, but their resonance shifts, their meaning deepens or lightens depending on what I bring to them. This is the great gift of books, I think. They are patient. They wait. They are ready whenever we are ready for them. You close the journal, moved by what you've read, grateful to this unknown writer for leaving these thoughts, for sharing these quiet observations. You carefully retie the leather cord, wrapping it around the journal several times, and return it to its place on the shelf. It sits there among the other books, distinguished only by its handmade quality, but you know you'll remember it, will think about those entries, will perhaps return to read more before this night is through. The exploration of the shelves has given you something, not just entertainment or distraction, but a sense of connection, of continuity. Others have been here before you, have found peace here, have paid attention to the same simple things you're noticing tonight. The rain they heard is the same rain you hear now. The fire they watched is the same fire, different logs but the same essential transformation of wood to warmth. You are part of a long line of people who have sheltered here, who have found rest here, and this thought is deeply comforting. You step back from the shelves, your exploration complete for now, and look around the room again. The fire still burns, though it has settled into a steady glow rather than active flame. The rain still falls, still provides its gentle percussion against the roof and windows. And you stand here, surrounded by books and memories and the accumulated wisdom of simple observation, feeling more at peace than you have felt in a long time. There is a sense of fullness, of richness, despite the simplicity of everything around you. Or perhaps because of that simplicity. There is nothing here demanding your attention, nothing flashing or beeping or calling out for response. There are only these quiet things, books and fire and rain and the slow passage of time, and somehow these are enough, more than enough. They are everything. You move away from the shelves, back toward the center of the room, and you feel the accumulated warmth and peace of the evening settling into your bones, into your very being. The cottage has welcomed you. The fire has warmed you. The tea has soothed you. The books have connected you to others who found peace in this same space. Everything has been gentle, everything has been kind, and you feel yourself responding to this kindness, opening to it, letting it work its healing, restful magic on your tired mind and body. You find yourself drawn to the window, to that pane of glass through which you can see, and more importantly, hear, the rain that has been your constant companion throughout this evening. The window nearest the armchair, the one that earlier reflected the firelight back into the room, now beckons you with its streaming surface, its pattern of water in constant motion. You cross the room slowly, still moving in that careful, unhurried way that has become natural to you here in the cottage. In this space where haste has no place, where everything happens in its own gentle time. When you reach the window, you stand before it, close enough that you could touch the glass if you wanted to, close enough to see every droplet clearly as it makes its way down the pane. The rain is still falling steadily, just as it has been all evening. Not hard, not in any way violent or aggressive, but persistent, gentle, thorough. Each drop is small, but there are countless drops, falling constantly, and together they create this ongoing presence, this soft sound that has become the soundtrack to your evening. You watch the glass itself, observe how the rain transforms it from something clear and transparent into something alive with movement. Individual droplets strike the outer surface and cling there for a moment, catching what little light comes from inside the cottage, glowing faintly before they begin their downward journey. They slide down the glass pulled by gravity, leaving trails of wetness behind them, and as they descend they meet other drops, merging with them, growing larger, gaining momentum. Some droplets move straight down, finding the quickest path to the bottom of the window. Others meander, taking zigzag routes, meeting resistance from some microscopic texture in the glass, diverting around invisible obstacles. Still others pause in their descent, clinging to some invisible point of contact, swelling as more water joins them from above, growing heavier and heavier until finally, inevitably, they can hold no longer and release, rushing downward in a sudden stream. You become absorbed in watching this endless process, this microscopic drama playing out on the surface of the glass. Each droplet is a tiny world, reflecting and refracting light, distorting the darkness beyond, creating momentary lenses through which the outside world appears curved and strange. And yet they are just water, just HO molecules held together by forces we name but barely understand, falling because that is what water does, finding its way downward to the earth. The sound of the rain is clearer here by the window, more immediate. You can distinguish different notes in it, the soft patter of drops on glass, the slightly deeper sound of rain on the cottage roof above, the even deeper, more muffled sound of rain striking earth and leaves and stone outside. These sounds layer together, creating a complex texture that is somehow both varied and monotonous, both changing and unchanging. You rest your forehead against the glass, and it is cool, not cold, but noticeably cooler than the warm air inside the cottage. The contrast is pleasant, refreshing, and you let your skin rest against the glass, feeling the slight moisture that has condensed on the inside surface from the difference in temperature between inside and outside. The coolness spreads from the point of contact, seeping into your forehead, and it feels good, grounding, connecting you to the weather outside even as you remain safely within. Through the glass, past the streaming water, you can see very little. The night outside is dark, truly dark in the way that only happens far from cities, far from streetlights and signs and all the ambient glow of human settlement. There are no stars visible through the clouds, no moon breaking through. Just darkness, and the sense of trees nearby, and the knowledge that the forest surrounds the cottage, that you are embraced by that vast living presence even though you cannot see it now. But you can hear it. Beyond the immediate sound of rain on glass and roof, you can hear, or perhaps feel, the rain falling on the forest itself. On leaves, on bark, on the forest floor with its layer of needles and moss and decaying matter. The forest is drinking this rain, absorbing it, using it, transforming it into growth and life. Tomorrow, if the rain stops, everything will be greener, fuller, more alive. But that is tomorrow. Right now there is only this, the falling, the landing, the slow soaking of earth and wood and leaf. You become aware of your breathing, and you notice that it is synchronized with the rhythm of the rain. Not consciously, you haven't tried to make this happen, but naturally, inevitably, as if your body recognizes the rhythm of the rain as a kind of breathing, as if the earth itself is breathing and you are simply joining in. In and out, in and out. Each breath slow, measured, calm. The rain continues, and you continue watching, and time passes without you being particularly aware of it passing. There is something meditative about this, something that quiets the usual chatter of your mind, the constant stream of thoughts and worries and plans and memories that normally occupy your attention. Here, watching the rain, there is only now. Only this. Only the droplets on the glass, the sound in your ears, the coolness against your forehead, the gentle rhythm of your breath. You remember, dimly, having things to worry about, tasks to complete, decisions to make, people to contact, all the usual concerns and responsibilities that make up daily life in the world beyond this cottage. But they seem far away now, unreal somehow, as if they belong to a different person in a different life. They will be there tomorrow, if they need to be there. Tonight they can wait. Tonight there is only the rain. You lift your head from the glass and step back slightly, looking at the window as a whole rather than focusing on individual droplets. The entire surface is alive with movement, with water sliding and streaming and dripping, creating patterns that are never exactly repeated, that exist for a moment and then are gone, replaced by new patterns equally temporary, equally beautiful. The window frame itself draws your attention now. Old wood, painted white at some point long ago, the paint now worn and chipped in places, showing the grey-brown wood beneath. The wood is slightly swollen where it meets the glass, evidence of years of rain and humidity, years of expansion and contraction with the seasons. But it's still solid, still doing its job of holding the glass in place, of separating inside from outside while still allowing you to see through, to maintain this connection with the weather. You place your hand flat against the glass, feeling the coolness again, feeling the slight vibration as drops strike the other side. Your hand looks strange through the streaming water, distorted, as if you're seeing it through moving liquid, which of course you are. You spread your fingers wide and watch as the space between them fills with the distorted view of darkness outside, of rain falling through night. The cottage is quiet around you, except for the rain. The fire has settled into glowing embers. You can see the soft orange light from here, reflecting dimly off surfaces in the room. There is no other sound, no other movement. Just you, standing by the window, watching the rain, breathing slowly, being present to this simple, peaceful moment. You think about water, about its journey. The rain falling now was once ocean, was lifted into the sky as vapor, was formed into clouds, was carried by wind until it reached this place, this forest, where it falls now as rain. It will soak into the ground, will be absorbed by tree roots, will flow in tiny underground streams towards some larger body of water, will eventually return to the ocean, will evaporate again and become clouds again and fall again as rain again. The water is ancient, has been cycling like this for billions of years, has fallen on dinosaurs and on the first trees and on countless human eyes watching it fall just as you are watching now. This thought, that you are connected through this water to all of time, to all of life that has depended on rain, to the vast cycles of the planet, is somehow both humbling and comforting. You are small, yes, but you are part of something impossibly large, impossibly old, impossibly interconnected. The rain reminds you of this, and the reminder is gentle, requires nothing from you except this moment of attention, this willingness to watch and listen and be present. Gradually, without deciding to do so, you find yourself simply standing, no longer actively watching each individual droplet, no longer thinking about cycles or meaning or anything at all. Just standing, just breathing, just being here with the rain, in the warm cottage, on this dark night. Your mind has grown very quiet, very still, like a pond into which no stone has been thrown for some time, the surface smooth and undisturbed. The rain continues. It will continue long after you've stopped watching, long after you've moved away from this window, long through the night while you sleep. This is not rain that will stop soon. This is the rain of a weather system that has settled in, that has work to do, that will be thorough and patient in its work. And somehow this too is comforting, the knowledge that the rain will continue whether you watch it or not, that it doesn't need your attention to keep falling, that it has its own purpose and rhythm entirely independent of you. After a time, you cannot say how long, for you have not been tracking time, have let it flow past you like the water flows down the window. You take a deep breath and step back from the window. You have been fed by this time of watching, of listening, of being present to the rain. You feel calmer, clearer, more centered than before. The rain has done its work on you just as it does its work on the forest, has washed something away, has nourished something that needed nourishing. You turn from the window, leaving the rain to its falling, and look back at the warm interior of the cottage. The fire still glows in its hearth. The chair still waits with its blanket draped over the arm. Your teacup still sits on the side table, empty now but carrying the memory of warmth and chamomile. Everything is exactly as you left it, patient and welcoming and safe. The night is deepening. Time is passing, though slowly, gently, without urgency. Soon, not yet, but soon, you will want to think about sleep, about finding the bedroom, about surrendering to the rest that has been building in you all evening. But for now, for this moment, you are content to simply stand here in the middle of the room, listening to the rain, feeling the warmth, being present to this perfect, peaceful evening that the cottage and the rain have given you. The evening has settled into a deep quietness, a peaceful lull that seems to suggest what comes next. You have been warmed by the fire, have explored the cottage, have watched the rain and sipped your tea and let the gentle rhythms of this place work their magic on you. Now, gradually, you become aware of a gentle tiredness, a pleasant heaviness in your limbs, a readiness for the next stage of this evening. The stage of true rest, of sleep, of surrendering completely to the peace that surrounds you. You look around the living room once more, appreciating it anew, grateful for the comfort it has offered. The fire has burned down to embers now, a soft red glow in the hearth, still radiating warmth but no longer actively flaming. This is perfect. The fire has done its work of warming the cottage, and now it can rest too, can settle into this gentle glowing state that will last through the night, perhaps, until morning comes and someone might build it up again. But you are not thinking about morning. Morning is far away, irrelevant. What matters now is night, is sleep, is finding that comfortable bed that must exist somewhere in this cottage, that must be waiting for you with clean sheets and soft pillows and the promise of deep, untroubled rest. You move through the living room toward the back of the cottage, where you suspect the bedroom lies. Your movements are slow, slightly heavy, your body already beginning the transition towards sleep, already relaxing those muscles that hold you upright and alert, already preparing for the horizontal, for the surrender of consciousness that sleep requires. There is a doorway at the back of the living room, partially open, showing darkness beyond. You push it wider, and it swings silently on its hinges, revealing a small hallway, just a few steps long, with another door at its end. This must be the bedroom. You walk down the short hallway, your hand trailing along the wall for balance, for connection, and when you reach the second door you pause, your hand on the handle. There is something ceremonial about this moment, about crossing this threshold into the sleeping space. The living room was for waking activities, for sitting, for reading, for being present and conscious. The bedroom is different. It is for letting go, for releasing, for allowing yourself to drift into unconsciousness and dreams. Crossing from one space to the other feels significant, feels like a choice to surrender to rest. You open the door. The bedroom is dark, but not completely. There is a window here too, and through it comes the faint suggestion of light from outside. Not much, just the barely there luminescence that exists even on the darkest nights, reflected from clouds, from the distant stars behind those clouds, from sources you cannot name but can sense. This minimal light is enough to show you the outline of furniture, the shape of the room, the location of what you came here to find, the bed. But first, you need more light. Just enough to see by, to prepare the space properly, to not stumble in darkness. You remember seeing, earlier, a candle and matches on a small table just inside the bedroom door. Your fingers find them now, the smooth wax of the candle, the rough wood of the matchbox. You take out a match and strike it against the box's side, and there is that familiar scrape and then the sudden bloom of light, small but bright in the darkness, the match head burning with a warm yellow flame. You touch the match flame to the candle wick, and it catches, the flame transferring from match to wick, and now you have steady light. You shake out the match and set it aside, then lift the candle in its holder, using it to illuminate the room more fully. The bedroom is simple, like everything else in the cottage. The walls are the same dark wood, the floor the same wide planks. There is the bed, of course, the central feature, large enough for comfort but not enormous, positioned against one wall. There is a small dresser, dark wood with simple drawer pulls. There is a chair in one corner. its seat empty except for what looks like a folded nightshirt or sleeping garment. And there is the table beside the bed, where you now place the candle, setting it down carefully so the flame will remain steady. The candlelight fills the room with gentle golden illumination, casting soft shadows, making the space feel intimate and enclosed and safe. You can see everything clearly now, and you take a moment to simply look, to appreciate this space that will hold you while you sleep, that will keep you safe through the night. The bed is made, the covers pulled up neatly, and you move closer to examine it more carefully. The sheets are white, clean white linen, slightly worn soft by many washings, and when you pull back the top blanket to inspect them, they look fresh, inviting. There are pillows, 2 of them, in white cases that match the sheets, and when you press your hand against one you find it is filled with down or feathers, soft but supportive, the kind of pillow that will cradle your head perfectly. Over the sheets there is a blanket, lighter than the wool blanket in the living room, but substantial enough, woven in a simple pattern of cream and soft grey. And over that, a quilt, handmade, you can see, pieced together from many fabric squares in faded colours, stitched with care, heavy enough to provide weight and warmth. The quilt is old, clearly well used, and it has that particular softness that only comes from years of washing and use, years of providing comfort to sleepers. You pull the covers back further, folding them down to expose the bottom sheet, preparing the bed for entry. The movement releases a scent from the bedding. Clean linen, yes, but also something else, something like lavender perhaps, or maybe just the smell of air and sunshine from when these sheets were last hung outside to dry. It's a good smell, a smell that speaks of care and cleanliness and comfort. You notice now that there is a warming stone at the foot of the bed, a large, smooth stone wrapped in flannel, placed there to take the chill off the sheets, to provide warmth for cold feet. You touch it and find it is still slightly warm, though not hot. Someone, perhaps the cottage itself, in its mysterious way, has prepared this for you, has thought of your comfort, has wanted you to find the bed warm and welcoming. You move around the bed, smoothing the bottom sheet where it has wrinkled slightly, adjusting the pillows so they sit properly against the headboard. These small acts of preparation feel important. Feel like you are honoring the bed, honoring the sleep that is to come, making everything right and ready. The bedroom window draws your attention, and you move to it, looking out into the rainy darkness. The rain is still falling. You can see it in the faint light, see the streaks of it coming down, hear it drumming softly on the roof overhead. The window is slightly open at the top, just a crack, enough to let in fresh air without letting in rain, and you decide to leave it this way. The cool air flowing in will mix with the warmth from the rest of the cottage, will create perfect sleeping temperature, and the sound of the rain will be that much clearer, that much more present through the night. You turn back to the bedroom, satisfied with what you see, satisfied with the preparations. The bed is ready. The candle burns steadily on the bedside table, providing just enough light to see by, but not so much that it will be disturbing. The air is fresh and cool, but not cold. Everything is exactly as it should be. On the chair in the corner, you find the nightshirt you noticed earlier, and you move to examine it. It is simple, white cotton, soft from many washings, with long sleeves and a loose fit that will be comfortable for sleeping. Perfect. You pick it up and shake it out, and it falls open, ready to be worn. You begin to change, removing your day clothes slowly, folding each item and placing it on the chair. There is no need to rush, no need to do anything quickly. You are simply preparing for sleep, engaging in this nightly ritual that humans have performed for all of history. The changing from day clothes to night clothes, the transition from waking to sleeping self. The nightshirt slips over your head easily, settles over your body with a soft whisper of cotton. It is exactly the right size, neither too tight nor too loose, and the fabric is cool and smooth against your skin. You feel immediately more ready for sleep, more prepared to rest, as if the nightshirt itself carries some quality of peace and relaxation. Your day clothes sit folded on the chair now, and you look at them for a moment, these garments that carried you through the day, through the walk in the rain, through the evening in the cottage. They have done their work. Now they can rest, and you can rest, and morning, distant, far-off morning, will come eventually and bring with it the need for day clothes again. But that is not now. That is not your concern now. You return to the bed and stand beside it, looking down at the white sheets, the soft pillows, the turned-down covers waiting to be pulled up once you are lying beneath them. This is the moment of transition, of surrender, of allowing yourself to finally, fully, completely rest. The candle flickers slightly in a draft from the open window, and the shadows in the room shift and dance for a moment before settling again. The rain continues its gentle percussion on the roof, on the window, on the world outside. And you stand there, ready now, ready to let this long, peaceful, perfect evening reach its natural conclusion, ready to let sleep take you wherever sleep takes you, trusting that you are safe here, that you are held here, that you can let go completely and utterly into rest. You pull back the covers completely now, folding them down to the foot of the bed, exposing the full length of the white bottom sheet. The sheet is smooth, inviting, and when you run your hand across it, it feels cool and clean against your palm, slightly crisp in the way that good linen feels before body warmth softens it. You sit on the edge of the bed, and the mattress gives slightly beneath your weight, not too soft, not too firm, but exactly right, supportive and comfortable, the kind of mattress that will hold you gently through the night without creating pressure points or discomfort. You swing your legs up onto the bed, feeling the cool sheet against your feet, your calves, and you arrange yourself carefully, mindfully, thinking about position and comfort. You lie back, and your head finds the pillow, and yes, it is exactly as you hoped, soft enough to envelop your head gently, firm enough to provide support for your neck. The pillow seems to know the shape of your head, seems to accept it and cradle it perfectly. You shift slightly, adjusting, finding that exact position where everything aligns, where your spine is straight, where your neck is neither bent forward nor tilted back, where you could lie like this for hours without discomfort. Your arms rest at your sides, outside the covers for now, and you feel the texture of the nightshirt against your skin, the slight coolness of the fabric, the way it drapes over your body without constricting or binding. You flex your fingers, then relax them. You rotate your ankles in small circles, first one direction, then the other, releasing any last tension in those joints. You are settling in, letting your body begin its nightly ritual of release and relaxation. Now you reach for the covers, pulling them up slowly over your legs, over your torso, up to your chest. The weight of them is immediately comforting, not heavy, but present, substantial, creating a gentle pressure that makes you feel enclosed, protected, held. The quilt especially, with its handmade weight, settles over you like a gentle embrace, and you find yourself breathing out a long, slow breath, feeling something inside you release with that exhalation. You arrange the covers carefully, tucking them in slightly at your sides, making sure there are no gaps where cool air can reach you, creating a complete envelope of warmth. Your arms are under the covers now, resting on your stomach or at your sides, warm and comfortable. Your feet have found the wrapped warming stone, and though it is not hot anymore, it is still warm enough to be pleasant, warm enough to take away any lingering chill. The bed has accepted you completely now. You are horizontal, supported, covered, warm. The mattress beneath you, the pillow behind your head, the covers over you, all of these work together to hold you, to comfort you, to create the perfect conditions for rest. You feel your body responding to this, feel muscles you didn't know were tense beginning to soften, to let go, to release their vigilance. You become aware of your breathing, and you notice that it has slowed even more, has become deep and regular, each breath coming and going with an easy rhythm that requires no thought, no effort. The breath simply happens, as it has been happening your entire life, as it will continue to happen through the night while you sleep. Your body taking care of this essential function without any conscious input from you. With each exhale, you feel yourself sinking deeper into the mattress. Feel the bed rising slightly to meet you, conforming to your shape. With each inhale, you feel your chest expand, feel your ribs spread, feel air filling your lungs completely, bringing oxygen to your blood, to every cell in your body. The breathing becomes a kind of meditation, a point of focus that is also a kind of letting go, a way of being present while also drifting, hovering at the edge of sleep. Your eyes have been open until now, looking up at the ceiling, at the wooden beams that cross it, at the gentle shadows the candlelight creates. But now your eyelids are growing heavy, are wanting to close, and you let them. You close your eyes, and immediately the world becomes softer, more internal, more quiet. The room is still there, you can hear the rain, can sense the presence of the walls and the window, but it has receded slightly, has become background rather than foreground. With your eyes closed, you become more aware of your body, of the sensation of lying down, of being supported, of being warm and safe. You do a slow internal scan, starting at your feet and moving upward, noticing each part of your body, acknowledging it, and then letting it relax even more deeply. Your feet, warm against the warming stone, toes uncurling, relaxing completely. Your calves, heavy against the mattress, muscles soft and loose. Your thighs, supported fully, no tension remaining in those large muscles. Your hips, settled into the bed, your lower back finding its natural curve, comfortable and supported. Your stomach, rising and falling with each breath, soft and relaxed. Your chest, expanding and contracting with that same gentle rhythm, heart beating steadily and calmly, a slow, strong beat that you can feel if you pay attention, that pulses life through you without any effort or thought. Your shoulders, dropping away from your ears, releasing downward toward the mattress, letting go of the weight they have carried through the day. Your arms, heavy at your sides, hands resting palm up or palm down, fingers slightly curled, completely relaxed. Your neck, supported by the pillow, neither strained nor uncomfortable, muscles soft. Your jaw, unclenching, teeth slightly apart, no tension in your face. Your forehead, smooth, no furrows or frowns. Your eyes, closed and still, not moving, not searching, just resting behind your closed lids. Your entire body is relaxing, is letting go, is preparing for sleep. You can feel it happening, can feel yourself becoming heavier, more boneless, more at ease. It's a pleasant sensation, this letting go, this release. There is nothing you need to hold on to, nothing you need to maintain or control. You can simply be here, can simply rest, can simply allow sleep to come in its own time. The rain continues to fall outside, and its sound is perfectly suited to this moment, to this state of deep relaxation. It's rhythmic without being mechanical, varied without being chaotic, constant without being monotonous. The sound of rain on the roof, on the window, fills the space around you, fills the room, seems to fill your mind as well, washing away any remaining thoughts or concerns, leaving only peace. You notice that your thoughts are slowing down, becoming less distinct, less urgent. Instead of clear, defined thoughts with beginnings and endings, there are now just wisps of thought, fragments that arise and dissipate like smoke, like mist, without leaving much impression. You are not falling asleep yet, not quite, but you are approaching that threshold, that edge between waking and sleeping, and you hover there, comfortable and content, in no hurry to cross over, but knowing that soon, very soon, you will. The candle on the bedside table still burns, you know, though your eyes are closed and you cannot see it. Its light continues to glow softly, continues to hold back the complete darkness, and you are grateful for it, for this small flame that watches over you as you drift towards sleep. Eventually you may want to extinguish it, to let complete darkness come. But for now it is good to know it is there, this small guardian of light. Your breathing has become so slow, so deep, so regular that you barely notice it anymore. It has become like the rain, simply there, simply happening, a constant gentle rhythm that requires no attention. In and out, in and out. Each breath bringing calm, bringing peace, bringing you closer to the edge of sleep. You feel yourself drifting now, not quite dreaming but not quite awake either, in that liminal space that is so peaceful, so free from worry or planning or remembering. Images might float through your mind, nothing distinct, nothing that demands attention, just brief impressions of things seen today or long ago, fragments without context or meaning, interesting only as momentary sensations before they fade and are replaced by others. The bed holds you. The covers warm you. The pillow supports you. The cottage shelters you. The rain continues its gentle work. And you lie here, safe and warm and comfortable, letting go, releasing, surrendering to the rest that your body needs, that your mind needs, that your spirit needs. Soon, perhaps in moments, perhaps in minutes, it doesn't matter. You will slip across that threshold, will give yourself over completely to sleep. But even now, hovering at the edge, you are resting deeply, are being nourished by this peace, are healing from whatever wear and tear the day has brought. This is enough. This is everything. This is exactly what you need. The world continues outside. The rain falls, the forest drinks it in, the night deepens. But you are separate from all of that now, are enclosed in this safe space, this comfortable bed, this gentle state of approaching sleep. Nothing can reach you here. Nothing can disturb this peace. You are completely, utterly safe, and this knowledge allows the last traces of vigilance to fall away, allows you to let go completely, allows you to trust in the safety of this place, this moment, this perfect rainy night. Sleep now, deeply and peacefully. Let the quiet of the night surround you as the world softens into silence. Feel the comfort beneath you, the warmth around you, the ease within you. Everything is calm. Everything is safe. Everything is just as it should be. There is nothing more you need to think about. Nothing more you need to do. Only rest. Drift gently into sleep, like a tide settling into still waters. Soft and unhurried. Sleep well. Sleep deeply. Let the night take care of the rest. Good night. And when you're ready, we'll see you in the next one.